host. Shout out to Ted. I'm not sure.
You behind us. Ted outside.
Wait outside. Shout out to Ted, man. That's important. Since they want to hurt Bison, but I just want to thank everybody for coming out. This is a special moment. Like I said, it's all about community, and we want to take a moment to have a panel discussion about different situations in the community. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have my guy do an introduction and introduce himself to you all, and then we'll break down and talk about where we're going with this next.
Hey, what up, guys? I'm Omari Hashid Cato. I'm a pro BMX rider, and I also happen to be a school teacher. And then I also teach kids BMX tricks. I learned about Kareem's brand through a mutual friend. I had to support it. We had working on a small project that you may have seen. They're really great based on. And so yeah, we're gonna start a dialogue. I had a couple drinks. So I'm gonna try to be coherent as possible.
Solid. So just to give you all some back details on what's going on. So if you all been following the brand, you notice like every year we put out these windbreakers, some type of piece with the map of the city on it. And up until like right now, I'm gonna actually explain the reason why we do it. The reason why is because from the beginning, I wanted to make a statement that we are the city, which means we will not leave the city to capitalize on anything else. We want to build within the city, and we want this to be a reminder. So we put maps on these garments to remind each and every one of you that you actually are the city. Now, this situation here is a tour that we're doing. So we're starting off with Houston, and we'll be in Atlanta next week on the 17th, and we'll go to Charlotte on the 24th. So it's actually a tour, but we're trying to just keep the message to basically bring different generations in one space to have a dialogue, to talk about any ways that we can progress the community. Just see different perspectives through different lenses. So today we have my guy here that we'll have a conversation. He works with kids, and he's doing a lot of beautiful things. So we have a panel discussion, go with a few questions. But what I want to let you all know is it's an open discussion. So we all family here. We'll start the questions off with my guy, but if anyone wants to have input, just speak. And, it's nothing strenuous. It's not a TED talk or anything like that. And we just really want to have good energy and
Heard talk.
So anytime you have any feedback or questions or response, just feel free to talk. It's open dialogue. All right? We're going to jump straight into it. So, what we want to actually talk about is the communication between the different generations. So, he works with the younger generation. So, we're going to start there. My first question is how important is communication between generations from your perspective?
So I think that communication is very important. It needs to be relevant to and accessible to kids. Specifically, I teach 3rd and 5th grade elementary social studies. And so what's interesting about that is that they are very politicized. If you guys have any children or siblings or nieces and nephews of an elementary age, that they know about Donald Trump, they know about Joe Biden, but oftentimes they have no context. And that's often because it's not communicated to them. And, what I would say, whatever we don't communicate to our children is filled in by either social media or those of whom that have any influence over them. And so I think oftentimes we have this thing where I'm sure you went through it as with your parents or previous generation. You're like, man, Pops, why you didn't tell me that? Why you didn't tell me this? And I don't know why there's a culture of blindness that we bestow upon our children, almost like a rite of passage. Like, we don't let them bang their head, but we don't have time for that. We can afford to let them just figure it out. And so I think, as far as it being important to communicate, we need to be authentic with them. Children have a very fine-tuned sense of whether or not somebody's being real or not with them, authentic with them. And that's learned very quickly in the classroom. Most teachers, parents that have issues with children is because they're not being authentic to them, and they desire that. And so if you don't give that to them, they will seek that out in other ways, and it may not be ideal to nurture that group.
So really, being present is a solution. So I have 2 kids. Some of you, I have 2 kids, 2 daughters myself. And being present is really critical, especially you don't want to miss a beat. My whole logic is, I'd rather teach them before the world teach you. It's very hard. It's a cold world. So being present is very important. So I feel what you're saying. But let me ask you this, man. Seeing things through your lens, are there any needs you believe your generation could use or leverage from the other generations that could help make things easier for you in regards to building the community? Like, is there anything that you can leverage from the older generation that help you be able to guide or tutor or mentor the younger generation? How could you leverage each generation?
I think for me, it's a grit. I think that older generations have this grit, this I'm going to go out and do it. We have that too. I think that the millennial generation Z is very entrepreneurial. Well, that's what is projected to us. But through my observation, many youth, they want to be famous. They want to be YouTubers and things like that. I try to tell them, well, okay, well, you're gonna go on YouTube and do what? You're gonna review other people's products, other people's creations, and that's secondary. And so you need to be in a primary creative state. You need to create your own brands and your own things like that. But in order to do that, you need, gusto, you need grit, you need the ability to execute ideas. I think with social media, I think the youth are taught to value ideas, which are important, but they need to be backed up with execution. And I think in the absence of things like social media, I think some people in the previous generation, they had nothing but to produce. And we need to be focused on production, especially as a country. I think we're losing talent. We're not producing more talent. We're consuming culture, but not one that is productive. And we need to go back to producing and creating things instead of simply reviewing creation and remixing previous creations. So that would be my answer to that.
I have a question.
So, I'll need a mic. So, we kind of spoke on, kind of people are kind of youth, pretty much not copying what other people are doing, right? So, what kind of steps can you give to the youth to be like, hey, I want to create, use an example, I want to create my own footwear line where you have these other brands, Nike, Adi, they kind of copy the same silhouette, right? So, example, look at Kanye and the slides.
Right.
Kind of like Crocs, right?
Yes.
So how do you try to navigate that balance to the youth and having them create their own kind of product?
You want to answer this one?
Well, about the answer.
I agree on that.
Alright, so really answer this. So one thing that I'm really big on is originality. So stick to it. I have my house, my dad, and one of the things that he told me was stick to the be original. So understand that to make a statement, you have to have individuality. Otherwise, you're just going to come with everyone else. Stay away from the chains and be true to what you do. So it's a lot of redundancy out there, but stick to your ones that be you. That's what I advise. And like I said, it's a slower pace, that you build a cult following, but people really support you and they really speak on things. They fuck with what you do, and they know that everything that you come with is original. So that's my advice.
I'm going to give it to Pops because that would make more logical sense.
All right, so I'm from there. I'm just this guy. So the comment on that, you know, greatness is built off of greatness, right? I love cars. Anybody knows me knows that. I love cars. I have a passion for cars. I have a good collection. But if I was to match myself with Henry Ford, that invented cars, I would put that car people, right? Because of the knowledge that I had gained off of what he started. So my point is that greatness is built off of greatness, and you have to look at the older guys, not as if they're just older guys, but get their knowledge. I had a great grandmother who stayed with me until she was 29, until I was 29 years old. And I didn't realize how much knowledge I could got from her. And I regret it to this day that I didn't dig in her head and I didn't learn as much as I could have learned from her. So that's something I always think about. So when you have these senior people around you, don't look at them like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. You got to build them off of them, get their knowledge, learn from them, see what state, jump, and go from there. So greatness, remember what I just said, greatness is built off of greatness, right? The ones that started it, see how they started, what they do, what path did they take, and just add on to it.
All right, so cool. I didn't know you could take questions and shit like that, you know, so I got a question. So, my voice like loud.
Speak to the people.
Yo, mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Listen, so my question is really about brand loyalty. Like, how do you, because, you know, being a part of the city or whatever the case is, I had a front row seat and watching y'all build what y'all did, but it's one thing watching and knowing how y'all build what y'all built. You know what I'm saying? So unless you're in that circle, you don't know how things really happen. So my question really is, how do y'all build that brand loyalty? Because I heard Bison is really one of those things that the city got behind. And knowing y'all, it's easy to say I got behind it because I knew who was behind it. But not everybody knows who's behind it. So at the end of the day, building brand loyalty is something that's apparent or pertinent to what y'all got going on. I like to know how y'all got city behind it, what y'all got going on, the brand. You know what I'm saying? What y'all got going on the brand.
Period. Good question.
For sure, man. The straight shot is this, man. From the beginning, the aim was always to be authentic and genuine. I've mentioned this before, but it is definitely a slower race in regards to
Marathon.
not following the trends, we're not going to put money grab, we stick to like what we are. And a lot of times, it's not fast, it's not the quick, you know, but the idea is to be around like, oh, you know what I mean?
Slow race last long.
Come on. You know, that's really that. So, it's fun. We recognize mistakes. We are 100% about customer service. If anything is wrong, anything is messed up, man, I'm reaching out to you, people here, probably. I'm reaching out to you, talking to you, like, man, how can I make that work quick? Like, how can I get that on the seat? Like, that's what it's about. It's really not about the monetary gain. It's really about the community. It's really about building that relationship. And as of right now, I'm able to connect with people one-on-one. And that's what I'm really proud of myself. I'm proud of myself in being able to reach out to people and be tangible. I know that at some point I won't be like that, but as long as I can control it, it's about just being one-on-one with people and making sure people get what they need and understanding. And more importantly, showing people the process. I never turn anybody away. If somebody needs something, somebody wants to do something, my resources is your resources. I don't hide anything. I'm accessible. You got my number. If I answer the text message today, I'm gonna answer the next day. You know what I'm saying? But I always try to be accessible because I know what this is. I'm just, in a position to be able to be transparent with a lot of things, and I think that's what the people, the other generation of people, even my peers, need to be able to see. I don't hide anything. I don't hide anything. All this shit, man, is trial and error. Man. My brother and I, we just have fun with it, and that's the beautiful thing. But at the same time, it's about teaching people. So I never turn my back on anybody ever needs something. I'm always there. I always try to make any errors or situations that may be flawed. I always try to correct that. So that's how we do it. So, good question. All right, so we got a couple questions. And then we're gonna get into the raffle and finish up the night. But so let me ask you, man. So going forward, how can you do better in the community to help keep things progressing?
Sell more, nigga.
So my guy, he and hopefully you get into that, but he teaches kids outside of what he does, but he also teaches kids BMX, right? He'll really go into the details about that, but to see a face like this into that type of situation, that type of sport, is monumental. So that's why I took very liking to him. I'm like, man, bro, you like really, I don't see people like that.
We have freestyle bikes.
Yeah, right. We did have freestyle bikes, but we on a whole other level with it, man. So my question is, I wanted to know, like, how important is it to, be able to express that and and community, like, how, what's your passion behind that and like the thought process behind that when you're like teaching these kids like that? Because that's really like, I won't say an anomaly when it comes to like what's normal, but it's not rare. Usually it's football, basketball.
Unique position.
Yeah. So what's weird about bikes and people of color is everybody rode a bike, right, as a kid. And what happened? Y'all probably got like a flat and like went over the bars and that's it, right? You said he was nice. You said he was nice. He was too buff.
I'm willing to know that.
Exactly. But see, that's the thing. We'll have brothers in the neighborhood popping wheelies, surfing on the bike.
Concentrated shit.
And then they don't know where the sport can go.
They don't nurture.
And I felt like that was a problem because we try to shove our talent into the same like 2 or 3 sports, and there's not enough. Well, there's enough space, I guess, but we do have a natural affinity in cycling. I get like really tertiary into it, like down to a genetic level, fast twitch muscles, things like that. We already dominate running sports. Anything that has to do with running, we already dominate. Sprinting, long distance. Okay, so why can't we just put the same body on a bike and then dominate that? We don't have a pathway to do that. That's why we don't do it. Or you'll see, a couple of guys, Nelson Vales or somebody, they'll trickle into the sport and they'll disappear. So you don't have the support. And to be honest, I'm one of those guys. I show up. I've competed nationally and internationally. A couple countries, including China, Mexico, Canada, and I'm typically the only brother there. And but I know when I was a kid, everybody was popping wheelies right next to me. I wasn't even the best one. I just was the last one. And so that is what motivates me is potentiality. And that, okay, what if I take a kid and give him the knowledge and the support? Because I know what it feels like to get support and not get it at the same time. And so because of that, I'm very curious. It's almost just like on the scientific level, like, what happens if you ever seen that movie with Eddie Murphy and he's like homeless and it's 2 rich white dudes
Trading places.
Okay, exactly, right? So I was like, okay, what if I took kids and put them on a bike and then showed them what can actually be done physically, and then what can be done, career-wise, you can compete, you can race. I know Kareem mentioned that that I taught BMX, but before that I actually taught track cycling, which I don't know if you guys know about fixed gear bikes or race bikes and skinny tires. I taught kids how to do that as well. And they were successful at it because they had access to it. Anything we have access to and supported, we magically become successful at it. And so my job is, okay, hey, I have the knowledge. I'm the one in the room under the glass ceiling. And so I'm going to sit there and break that ceiling and create steps for them, create a pathway for them. And if they so choose to go down that path, they can go through it by choice, not by, I'm ignorant of the sport, I don't know that it exists, so I never tried it, I never engaged with it. I would prefer that somebody try it and be like, oh, that's not for me, or this is for me, than being completely ignorant of it as a pathway, not just a physical pathway, as a neural pathway. So that's why I do it. I think that it's emancipating, to give us more options. The same really two sports, basketball and football. Maybe some people trickle into baseball, but even that is not, as far as like a foundational, like American, that's not as common either, anyways. So.
I don't even know. So you spoke on potentiality in regards to the youth. So just give me like an overview of like the number of kids that actually come out or interested in actually doing tricks on bike and stuff like that. Because like you said, growing up, what you was doing, you thought was right. But when nobody was doing tailspins and all that,
No tutorial.
That's scary to kids. Because you fall off that bike big. That's right.
So currently I teach about 8 students a day. The only reason why I do that is I have 8 bikes and 2 eyes, and but the demand for the sport in the school is nearly unlimited. If I had unlimited resources and I could, own myself, I would have, it would be a class. It would be 30, 40, 50 kids. But I mean, by that time, I need to go home on parking lot, So what's cool about it is now I have a new problem, which is not an interest problem or an awareness problem. Because the kids, going back to communicating with kids, they find Mr. Cato, they're like, Mr. Cato, I see you on YouTube, I see you on Instagram. Mr. Cato, I see you on channel 2. I was like, okay, well, that's cool. But do your work, though, you do actually on stage. But they don't care about that. They care about Mr. Cato doing cool tricks, cool music with cool clothes. And that kind of goes to the communication, is that you have to reach them where they are. And they are very much interested in branding. They've been raised in branding. And so, they have a teacher who looks like them, who, to be honest, is, not scared. And, hey, it's just facts, man. It's like, and so they're very much attracted to the sport. And so, yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, so I have currently 8 students a day. I teach like 3 days a week. So about 24 students. One cool thing on the side note is, we have a lot of immigrant students in the school, and so I have a family of Somalians that are in the club, and I didn't think about it, and I was like, wait a minute, these kids are like the first Somalian BMX fighters. They don't know that, they just be running around in school, jumping on the walls and stuff. I do that, so you gotta, but yeah, so I no longer have a exposure problem, so we've gotten beyond that. Now we have a demand, probably have more demand than we have for resources for the program. Yeah, it's a great problem.
Share, I don't know if you have this, or change events that happen that let you know that this is what you start, you have to start. As far as success goes, most successful people are obsessed with the process, not the result, the process. They love the impact of it. I don't know if something happens or a few things happen that let you know, like, this is it, and I'm going for it. Everybody go through that.
Recognizing it.
Hey man, can y'all keep it down, please? Because y'all are kind of loud and you really can't get a regular out now. Just show some respect.
Appreciate it. So yeah, good question, man. But just real quick, what my guy was saying, all beautiful, man. So being available is what I took from what you said. Being available to the younger generation, being accessible. That's important. So knowledge sharing, man. You know, my pops was talking, and one thing to know is never be able to never turn away advice, regardless of what generation it's coming from. I learn from my kids every day. I learn from older people. I learn from my peers. So something to take note. That's a good question. I mean, we talked about this before on other platforms, but I think it's really important, man. One of the things that let me know that this is where I wanted to do is, you know, I never looked at this to be a business until I was doing things for myself, and people started wanting to buy and talk. They didn't care if it was streaming, they didn't care about none of it. They was just like, well, I want that right now. And I would try to, you know, it got to a point where I would tell people like, let me act with you. When people started to press me in regards to like, I just want that right now. Then, you know, got my brother, he was I think you probably need to turn it into like a situation where like people really want these things that you design. And I never really looked at it like that. I would always do it myself, and I still do it now. I never really seen it unless I like it first. So when that happened multiple times, and a person that I trust, you know, my brother, he was just like, hey man, probably got something right here, like, maybe you should like progress it. And then we started turning it into like a business and materialize it into something that's, you know, tangible for people to be able to like really have a platform and like purchase and stuff like that. But in the beginning, it really wasn't even about, you know, just a money grab or anything like that. It was just really, I was just doing things for myself, as being myself, you know what I'm saying? But I do want to recognize, I got two people right here. So I got my brother, I got Tito, man, but Tito is one of the, you know, we used to work at Saks together. And originality is something that I looked at him because he was always himself. So when we talk about learning from your peers, we talk about learning from different generations, whether it's above or below, you know, it's an age of, you know, how we want to do. You can learn something from everything. So I learned a lot of originality and being self from Tito. That's it right there. It's so critical, man. Like everybody got a person in life and we really got going on, and you know, I've told the story a lot of times about the people that surround me that support me, but I want to highlight, you know, other people that's in the building that really is influential. And because when we talk about community, that's what it's about. We talk about, I got stories about Drake. We can just keep it going. You feel me? But the most important part is, what I want everybody to know, we're gonna wrap this up before we get to the raffle, but I want everybody to know, like, leverage people, leverage knowledge, leverage older generations, leverage your generation, leverage younger generations. They know a lot of shit. Like, don't think this because they're younger, they don't know, they know what's happening. They can probably put you on what's going on IG before you even know what happened. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's not just about IG, but it's about everything else, like just in life. It's just, you know, that's what makes the community, and that's what this is all about. Like, we are a community, regardless of where I, with race, age, religion, whatever it is, like, we make up a community, and that's what this is all about. I want everybody to really take note to that and understand that, to have an open mind when it comes to when you walk out this door. You know, like, you'll say, like, I can learn something from everybody. Only close minded. So, hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, sir.
Solid. I'm checking, man, like, yo, we coming down to like the end of everything that's happening, but I want to thank my guy here. And I want to thank everybody that came out Hey, this is really good. So, like I said, we kicked around this Houston.
Man,
Today.
big up yourself,
You know, so we gonna get into, so hopefully everybody got these little blue tickets. You know?
No.
If you didn't get one,
Oh, it's full?
I got two of them.
that's good. So so if you haven't gotten a ticket, get one, because we're wrapping off,